All right. Hey, that's not as bad as I thought. Back corner, can you hear me? That back corner? That's a negative. That lady raised her hand. I'm taking that as a yes. Good evening, everyone. This is going to be a bit longer than that first one. I apologize, but I hope you have alcohol at your tables and take care of yourself. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, I am Tim. I am Josh's best man. I apologize for having these notes in my hand, but I talk too much and I write too much when trying to fill all these memories that the two of us have together. So bear with me over the course of the next few minutes. I just want to start by saying, Susan, you always look beautiful, but you look truly stunning today. There could not be a more beautiful bride. Josh, you look like you haven't shaved in a month. Josh and I have been friends for 28 years. For those of you who are bad at math, that means we both just turned 25. We met in 1988, I believe, and it was a good year. And looking around the room, there's some people in this room who I don't even think were born in 1988, so that's probably hard for you to imagine. In those days, we got around Jackson with a horse and buggy. Everyone ate exclusively dried beef and sorghum. Most of us didn't make it past the age of 8 because typhoid was rampant. We wrote letters with horse manure and made phone calls with tin cans. We panned the Mississippi River for gold, though truth be told, we came up short. If you walked somewhere, you walked on one foot because you knew it made you tougher. Those are hard scrabble days. But somehow, we got through them. And thank goodness I couldn't be more excited and less equipped to be Josh's best man today. When Josh asked me to be his best man, first thing I thought was it was funny he had asked. And then I thought about saying no, because I thought that would be funny. Then I thought that would just be confusing, so I said yes. The second thing I thought was that I would write the best man toast ever written. And Josh must have seen my wheels turning because the first thing he said to me was, just keep it short. And I thought, less than an hour, got it. And I started to realize pretty quickly that writing this was going to be harder than I thought. Do you reminisce? Do you roast? Do you compliment? How many stories do I know that Terry and Mike don't know? Can Josh survive me telling me 200 people something he never wanted people to know? Will Susan's family find me funny or offensive? We are about to find out together. The real luxury of having known Josh for 28 years is I know a pretty fair encyclopedia of embarrassing information about him. Josh, to be fair, has always been a very stand-up person. So that is harder to do than you might think. Frankly, when I got down to it, I thought, well, I'll be filled with regret if I let this day pass without telling you all stories that he thought would return all forever. But I wanted to be sure before we go in, would you all like to hear that story? Yes! Okay. Now, try to focus on me and not Josh's reaction. Though that inevitably is going to be very entertaining as well. Susan, please restrain Josh from either leaping out the window or murdering me. So when we were teenagers, as teenagers in Southeast Missouri, those of you who've grown up here know, you get very bored. You kind of run out of things to do and inevitably start to make up whatever it is that's going to entertain you on any given weekend. And this is a time when we were teenagers. A decade plus has passed, so please, before you give Josh any guff for it, realize it's far in time. But at that time, there was a certain show on MTV that had to do with pranking that was at its zenith. And we were just driving around town, as we would often do. I believe it was me, it was Josh, it was Brian from Rhodes. Brian, can you raise your hand? This was the illustration. Matt Schaefer, I believe, was there as well. Matt, can you raise your hand? There he is. In the back. Oh, he's not raising his hand. He's in the back of the room. And we were driving past Country Mart. Some of you guys who live in Jackson remember Country Mart. And we saw a group of teenagers who were loitering there. That's a pickup truck. They're probably like 15 or 16 years old. And for some reason, it struck us that it would be extremely entertaining if we could find a way to prank those teenagers. So we went back to Josh's house, partially inspired by the show. And after a bit of playful prodding, Josh agreed to be the main party in these hijinks. And he removed his shirt, he removed his pants, he was in his boxer shorts, and we made Josh look as though he'd been kidnapped. And we put him in the trunk of a car. Josh was holding the trunk shut with his own hands, which is the thing you can do, which we didn't know about. We drove to Country Mart. We parked just adjacent to this group of teenagers, so that we were in very conspicuous view of them. Brian and I got out of the car. We sat on the hood. We were facing the main highway, and we set to work looking as suspicious as we possibly could. We kept going back and forth to the trunk. We kept checking our phones. We kept looking at each other, basically trying as hard as we could to look like maybe we had just got a drug deal. And after about 10 minutes had passed, we gave Josh a signal. We knocked on the car. And Josh burst out of the trunk with duct tape hands and bare feet, screaming, ran directly past that group of teenagers, and Brian and I took off after it. And we ran across the parking lot. Matt started the car again. Matt drove across the parking lot, cut Josh off. We pretended, once we caught up to Josh, to rough him up a little bit. We threw him in the back seat of the car, and we drove off. With all of those teenagers standing there looking very confused. So we went home. Josh put on his home clothing again. And we all decided that it would be extremely entertaining if we could find a way to get back to Country Mart and see what their reaction would be. So we got in a different vehicle, and we drove down to Country Mart. And when we got there, the parking lot was full of police cars. I know Matt Proper's here somewhere in that, I'm sorry. So, that's my embarrassing story about Josh. Right now, Mike is probably thinking, Josh and I are going to talk about this. Josh is probably thinking, Tim, you better save this. Susan is probably thinking, I really wish I could have been there. And Susan's parents are probably thinking, what are the odds this is going to happen again? And I'm pleased to say, it's probably not bad. Actually, it don't matter. Now, Josh has calmed down significantly. As we call him. And it's been a real privilege over the course of our lives to see the kind of person that Josh has become. Since I met Josh, I would say he's been the one person in my life I could rely on that without fail could make me laugh, regardless of the circumstances of the situation, regardless of how bad either of us were feeling. That's never changed, but a lot of other things have. I've seen Josh play on a football team. I've seen Josh play in a punk band, in a bluegrass band, in a southern rock band. I don't know if Josh can be defined by genre anymore. I've seen Josh work on a farm. I've seen Josh become student body president. On the dodgeball league with Josh. Seen Josh play James Bond. Seen Josh at SEMO and Mizzou. Seen Josh become a teacher. Seen Josh become an extraordinary teacher who requested to work with the kids that nobody else wanted to work with. I've seen Josh win a Teacher of the Year award. I've seen Josh become a football coach. I've seen Josh become a truly exceptional human being. And there are many stories that I could tell you, part of why this is so long, that no one knows, and that Josh has never cared to publicize, that illustrate how selfless Josh is. And maybe the best example of that's not a story, but a series of events, and this is kind of a personal thing. So, my mom has lived on her own for about the past 10 years or so, since roughly 2005. Back in 2005, I had just graduated college and moved far away to Washington, D.C., and things were tough back here in Missouri, and tough for me because I wasn't around to help my mom. And whenever something would happen at home that normally I might have handled, but was unable to, I would call Josh. And he'd usually say, give me 48 hours. And the issue would be resolved. If a tree needed to be cut down, Josh was there. If something needed to be hauled away, Josh was there. If something needed to be fixed, Josh was there. And this wasn't a temporary thing. To this day, if there's something at home that my mom can't do on her own, first thing I say to her is, let me call Josh. Now, the bigger part of this is not that Josh does it, but that Josh doesn't care if anyone knows that he does it. He's never asked for anything in return, and only takes compensation under threat. I'm often so busy in New York that he probably thinks that I take it for granted, but I don't. Beyond that, every time in my life something tough has happened, Josh is the first person that I call, and without fail, he's there. Without fail, he's supportive, he's encouraging, he checks in. And it would be impossible to draw up a better human being and a better friend. He's the only person I know that would travel 1,000 miles to New York to celebrate my 30th birthday with. That Josh is that kind of a person is a testament to Mike and Terry. It's a testament to the way they raised him. It's a testament to his family. It's a testament to being brought up in this community. These last few years, I also believe it's a testament to Susan, who has made Josh the best version of himself. Now, I immediately liked Susan when I met her, and I thought, now we're getting somewhere. Susan is incredibly intelligent, she's tough, she's savvy, she's passionate, she tells Josh when he needs to shut up, and she's beautiful. In short, Susan is the kind of person that I always hoped Josh would end up with. Because of who she is, she makes him better. Now today is one of those opportunities in life where we get to say, this is a day dedicated to celebration. This is a day to celebrate two wonderful human beings who are lucky enough to make a commitment to each other and who were lucky enough to witness making a commitment to each other. So, if you would raise your glass. I'd like to toast to Susan and say, welcome to the tribe for life. We are honored to have you. Please name your firstborn child after me. I really appreciate it. But most importantly, let us toast to joy and to a lifetime of joy for these two. Thank you.
Hear, hear.